club we're not in. It's a joke we never win. Both sides got their masks on tight. Truth's a ghost in the dead of night. Falling in this circus stall, life for cloud, we've seen it all. And a world that's upside down. The beautiful dumpster fires down.
Hello, everyone. We have some Kamala Harris news. Apparently, Kamala, or Mamala, if you ask Drew Barrymore, had to scold a couple of rowdy hecklers at her Michigan speech because, well, the pro Palestine people, just will not be silenced. And let's see how she handles this. Probably one of her first experience with hecklers in her political career. Well, maybe not so much after the whole Tulsi Gabbard takedown of her political record, but let's see how she handles this.
Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis.
Now, these are interesting statements from a woman whose political website has none of her platforms up. She has all these things that she wants to do, but absolutely no framework within which to get it done, at least in a way to explain to the American public how these magical things that she wants are going to continue. You know, you may like, lump, or fervently dislike Trump, but his website has some ideas. It has, logical political, plans to get these ideas forward. It's not just platitudes of, we like Social Security, we like, this, we like the environment. There are actual, legislative priorities that one candidacy is putting out, and the other one has yet to put out anything. We are still counting. I mean, I believe it's up to 15 or 16 days now that presidential candidate Harris has yet to sit down with any reporters to ask even softball questions about her administration's goals, policy ideas, planks in her platform. We have gotten concerts, we've gotten celebrity endorsements, we've gotten, Karens for Kamala, white guys for Kamala, but we haven't gotten actually how they intend to do this. And I find it incredible that she is married to the current administration, in which she was seen as sort of an albatross around President Joe Biden's neck, in her unlikability index. I think her Q index is negative or below Senate, and Senate already has a dumpster fire, public opinion competency rating. She is not likable. They have used her as a scapegoat for President Joe Biden's, failing numbers when he was still running. And now we want to turn that off. And basically, she is brand new. I think the honeymoon is going to crash fairly soon. I think that there are deep, deep divides in the Democratic Party. I think for years and years, they have pandered to the very left-leaning youth or the youth vote, because those are the voters that go out and will, harvest ballots and tell people about that and get on TikTok and tell people to vote and encourage other people to do this because of ideals. But they've not really governed in a way that is super progressive. And in fact, Kamala Harris is now reversing a lot of her thinking politically. As soon as she became the presidential candidate, she is kind of reversing a lot of her very liberal bona fides, if you will. She's changed her thoughts on fracking. She's changed her thoughts on immigration. So it does seem like there is going to be a deep well of disappointment in the further progressive leaning sector of the Democratic Party. And I think that the Democratic Party, from my, sitting at my computer, complaining about politics point of view with no, fancy law degree or Ivy League, poli-sci accreditations. I think that there is going to be a large schism, and I don't know that the Democratic Party will ever be the same sort of, you know, blue collar worker party again. I think that they've really shown that they're stepping away from that. This is the party of the Ivy League, of the, you know, upper middle class kids who feel like they're oppressed, of a lot of different people, but they are moving away from their roots, and I think it's because of the leftward shift of the youth in the party. And I feel like a lot of those people are going to feel particularly betrayed by Kamala Harris because of her sort of shift to the center. But let's continue with her dealing with protesters. Let's see if Mamala will turn this speech around and no one's getting frosties.
And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Okay. So I have a couple of thoughts on this moment. I think that this is probably the first time she's looked at least decisive and hasn't cackled before she has done anything. She does look serious. Here's the caveat with that, in my opinion, if this is going to be the leader of the free world. Leaders are not going to be kind to her. Leaders are going to try to push her buttons, especially, I mean, imagine Putin sitting down and saying, "You're, a DEI hire," or something like that. If it shows that these protesters get under her skin, and again, I think that she had to address it, but what I fear is that this is going to be a a pattern that the people around the world, other world leaders, are going to realize that they can fluster or flummox Harris if they have, any dissenting thing, if she gets irritated. I think the same can be said for Trump, but I do think that, honestly, she seems irritated, aggravated, and you want to look above that, I think, especially with a deeply schismatic party. In my opinion, you would want to be doing something that got your party all together. And with the current administration, the Biden administration and the Harris administration, they have really not defined where they stand with Israel. And I think that is going to be a major, major issue for a lot of voters in that particular, demographic. I feel like the fact that they have not clearly outlined, A, we are on one side or the other. And I think people who are pro Palestine or going to these, beaches to protest will not be swayed unless there is 100% renunciation of any support to Israel. And feasibly, you cannot do that. I mean, we have treaties and things like that. So this is a good show of, again, kabuki theater, power and all of that. But unless she is willing to sit down and address the very big schism between the neoliberals, the uniparty kind of thing that she's going with now, and the progressives, I see the Democratic Party schisming in the next several years. That's just my opinion. Ooh, the mom stare. Oh my god, if someone puts up a TikTok that says, "Yes, queen." Okay, the people behind her all look like they have the pee-pee shiver, and I mean no disrespect, maybe it's just the way they were editing it, but they were all just excited, but, okay, when my toddlers were young, if they started squirming and, acting like that, I'd assume they all had to use the restroom. That's a mom thing for you. As I said, I don't think that she is going to be able to get away for much longer without answering tough questions or even softball questions because honestly, I don't know what this woman intends to do. And I find that a little bit scary. Anywho, let's get into an article about this. Vice President Kamala Harris told anti Israel hecklers who interrupted her Detroit campaign rally Wednesday night that their activism risks handing the November 5th election to former President Donald Trump. Kamala, you can't hide. We won't vote for genocide, a group of protesters chanted. At least they rhyme. Do you know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking, the 59-year-old Democratic presidential nominee said after a series of disruptions, pausing to stare down the demonstrators. Moments earlier, Harris had tried to weigh out the ruckus, saying in a more patient tone, I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I'm speaking now. Now, I will say there's immense hypocrisy in this because honest to goodness, the Democratic Party had their primary. I understand that keeping President Joe Biden on the ticket was untenable and needed to be fixed. But the party that has been shrieking about democracy for forever basically denied democracy to a bunch of people who already went in the primary, not to mention they messed the primary all up to, favor Biden. So spare me those arguments of, my democracy. Anywho, Kamala Harris continues to run for president, and we will be right here with her, watching her, mamala a crowd or, not answer questions. I am going to be doing a story about JD Vance doing a sort of shadow campaign right after Kamala Harris. So he is going to every state that Kamala Harris is stumping in and basically asking the media, sort of in a shit postery way, why haven't you covered any of her? Why hasn't she answered questions? Is she intending to answer questions? So, there is a good lord, a good amount of postery, if you will, going on in this election, and I doubt it's going to get any less crazy. So stay with me if you are politically homeless, jaded, if you think both sides are a big party and we're not invited. I suggest you join here for political news, and everyone's allowed. Feel free to disagree at any time. Let's just keep it civil in the comments. You can make fun of me. I'm a weird person that wears wigs and has a bunch of Sailor Moon stuff, but be nice to other people. I will see you guys later. Have a great day, and more political news will be coming to you later today. Bye, guys.